With Phase 4 of TBC well underway, thoughts turn to the final patch and the content it will bring. So today we're going to cover the new noteworthy additions that will be released in Phase 5. This is a new zone located all the way north in the Eastern Kingdoms, and I'd say has four main things to think about: the Shattered Sun rep, the progression of the staging grounds, the dungeon Magister's Terrace, and of course the raid Sunwell Plateau. Let's start with the actual island event itself, as well as the rep. The two are pretty much tied together, because you may hear about some features in the patch, such as being able to buy epic gems for badges, but this won't be available right away, and this is assuming Blizzard will do a progressive event, which I think they will. Think of the event as, well, kind of like the AQ War effort light. Very light. Instead of somebody building a scepter and handing in materials, your server does dailies. Lots and lots of dailies. As more dailies are done, progress is made towards unlocking the next area, which, you guessed it, gives you even more dailies. And by the time everything is unlocked, there's something like 10 dailies here that you can do. At least it's easy gold and rep, I suppose. The event will start with just the Shattered Sun staging area, which has the reputation vendor and dailies. I'm going to be saying dailies a lot. The dailies themselves are pretty standard activities: go somewhere, kill stuff, collect things, so I'm not going to go over them specifically. As your server progresses, you will eventually unlock the Sun's Reach Sanctum, and just in case you're wondering how long it will take exactly to progress to the next hub, not very long. If it's just your server needs to have done X amount of dailies total, some servers are going to fly through it in no time at all, which is how I suspect it works, though there is no official data online on how many quests are needed or exactly how it's tracked. Retaking the Sanctum gives 2 new dailies, and now your server will begin progressing on unlocking the Armory. During this time, a quest to open a portal from Shatrath to the Isle and vice versa will become available. After retaking the Armory, wouldn't you believe it, 2 more daily quests become available. PvP vendors will also spawn. They sell Season 1 gear for Tier 4 tokens and Season 2 gear for either Tier 5 or 6 tokens, as well as off-pieces for the Sunwell tokens or badges. Now, we already have most of this in the game, to be honest. I'm expecting Blizzard to make Season 3 gear available for Tier 6 tokens, because that's what they've done with every set so far. A blacksmith will also spawn below with a new daily as well. After your server has progressed that, 2 more dailies will spawn, and she will become a vendor selling loads of new and very powerful badge gear. This stuff costs a ton of badges, but is a nice alternative addition to gearing options. Also, if you're raiding, you'll want to be doing this daily at least now and again for the weapon coatings that work in the Sunwell raid, though according to old WoWhead comments, they won't stack with Wind Fury. Once you progress the next stage via dailies, you will unlock Sun's Reach Harbour, which, guess what? No, it doesn't have any yeah, I'm joking, it does. Of course it does. 1 new daily. After your server has advanced this objective, an additional daily will become available, as well as an alchemy mats vendor, a reagent vendor, and the epic gem vendor. They also sell patterns, and the epic gems themselves cost 15 badges each. Expect epic gems to come down pretty fast in price once this happens. Despite everyone needing them for new gear, people are just getting badges thrown at them at the moment. Additionally, an NPC will spawn accepting gold to build a memorial, and once you are exalted with the Shattered Sun offensive, you can pay 1,000 gold for the title of the Shattered Sun. All that work you've done for them, and they still want 1,000 gold for the title. What a bunch of scammers. Sometime later, after many more dailies, Kiru, a Naru, spawns and gives a zone-wide stamina and intellect buff, Kiru's Song of Victory. So that's the island progression. Not everything available day 1, but should progress pretty fast. We do have big servers after all. Next up, the reputation. So you're already going to be getting a lot of it naturally just by questing and doing activities around the Isle. What are the rewards though? Loads of gem designs for pretty much every combo you can think of, from friendly all the way up to exalted. Void Shatter for enchanters at Honored. This will turn 1 void crystal into 2 large prismatic shards, which, needless to say, are going to crash in price once this is available. Don't buy expensive large prismatic shards before the patch. A stamina and resilience head enchant at Revered for the PvP enthusiasts. Some new jewel crafter trinkets again at Revered. As far as I know, the melee one is quite good for rogues, an additional effective stealth level and loads of AP. New alchemist stones at Exalted, as well as a tabard of course. And finally, various necks that have procs based upon whether you're also exalted with the Aldor or the Scryers. Pendant of Might gives Aldor a 200 attack power proc, and Scryer's a Arcane Strike, which can crit for some damage. Pendant of Resolve gives 100 dodge rating for Aldor, and 100 expertise for Scryers, both procs last 10 seconds. Pendant of Restoration gives Aldor players bonus healing for 10 seconds, and Scryers a small instant heal. And finally, Pendant of Acumen gives Aldor 120 spell damage for 10 seconds, and Scryers a small damage proc. Aldor looks pretty much better across the board, to be honest. I guess there are various necks anyways from raid content that will be better. Speaking of raid content, we have the Sunwell, the final tier of TBC, very much seen back in the day as another really hard end of expansion raid. I've already done a full video on it if you want some info on its legacy and what to expect from it these days, which I will link, but here we're just going to go over the new stuff from it. Aside from the obvious things such as a load of this new gear, tier 6 tokens for boots, gloves and belts, and a legendary bow from Quel'Danas, there are also a few other noteworthy bits. The Sunwell has a lot of profession and trash drops. Some are BOP, some are BOE. Study of Advanced Smelting allows players to make hardened corium for 3 corium bars and 1 hardened adamantite bar. These are used a lot in jewel crafting and blacksmithing. Also, Primal Nethers and Might will see a return to being useful for Sunwell crafted gear. Expect more demand for both of these items. Finally, a new item drops within the Sunwell called Sun Moats. Again, these are used in item crafts. Think of them as like the new Heart of Darkness. Additionally, they can be used to transmute gear. This is a pretty interesting feature actually. It allows you to take a specific non-tier item and trade it in with a sun moat for another item of the same armor type and slot. That was kind of wordy, but it's easy to understand when you look at the vendor. It's a good alternative to just disenchanting everything if a certain item just keeps on dropping, I suppose. Let's end it off with a new dungeon, Magister's Terrace. I certainly have memories of how hard this place was, or maybe I was just bad. I played a Shadow Priest at the time and would mind control every single pack because CC felt mandatory and the mobs just did insane damage and had amazing spells. It was a lot of fun. There is a simple quest in there as well, giving you a look into the Sunwell with a nice panning cinematic. Also, does anyone else still have absolutely no idea who Anvina is? Either I just never paid attention or the game did a really bad job of explaining it. Anyways, do the quest, get an epic gem and a tune for the heroic version of the dungeon, the end boss of which is of course Quel'Danas for the second time of the expansion. After all, Tempest Keep was merely a setback. The dungeon can drop an orb which changes your appearance into that of a Blood Elf for 5 minutes, and unlike other items like the Orb of Deception, it doesn't go in your trinket slot, so you can actually use it. Revolutionary. Quel'Danas also drops a White Hawk Strider mount, which both Horde and Alliance can use, as well as a companion pet, the Phoenix Hatchling. One other thing to mention here is that the loot on Heroic is really good. Notably, Priestess Delrissa drops exceptionally powerful trinkets, Shard of Contempt in particular, as well as a new cloak enchant, Steelweave. Other than that, one final thing I remember about the Isle was if you are insane enough to go for the insane title in Wrath, is that the Murlocs around the shore are good for farming heavy junk boxes needed for the Ravenholt rep. Well, at least they were back in the day. Maybe we do have better methods now. And that's about everything in Phase 5 that I wanted to go over. If you think I missed anything big, please do drop it down below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one very soon.